Welcome in, everybody, to another episode of ZB's Horsepower Talk. As always, I'm ZB, Zack Brown, and joining with me, as always, is former 410 Sprint Car crew chief and mechanic, my dad, Jeff Brown. Dad, a lot to go over from a long weekend of racing and a big weekend coming up. I would argue even bigger. We got a really good episode for everybody today. We got all of our picks, all of our recaps, all of our new NASCAR fantasies, and our top 5 biggest rivalries in all of motorsports history. So it's a big one today. So let's just dive right into it. Recapping the Martinsville dominance by Hendrick Motorsports 1-2-3 finish for the Hendrick 40th anniversary. What a fantastic race. I was there with Chandler, my 5-year-old, and that was his first race. So it was an awesome race to be a part of. Awesome to be there in person. Such a historic track. Not a lot of cautions, so it might have been a little bit boring on TV, but man, in person, it was really good to see how these drivers strategized and got through the field, especially William Byron making his way through the entire field, starting, I think, 16th and just moving up front slowly but surely and then dominated at the end.
Yeah, he seemed to be the one that could really do most of the passing. You know, first stage, Kyle Larson pretty well stunk it up. Although impressive was Bubba Wallace on the short track. He ran down Larson right there at the end.
The entire day, he was very impressive.
He was good. He was good. Denny Hamlin kind of stunk up the second stage there, and then with at least with the longer stage, you had pit stops to make things shake them up a little bit, and of course we got the depending on which side of the Hendrick camp you're a fan of, you got the controversial caution right there with which, I mean, Byron was going to win the race regardless, anyway, but it's like people that are for Hendrick, they're like, oh, they're trying to get Hendrick not to win it, and the ones that are against him are like, well, that whole race was good.
Listen, the late race caution, it was coming. I was there, and that was really the only wreck that happened, I believe. It was happening. The whole back of the field was so bunched up. They were literally going 3 wide. I don't even know if the TV called any of that. There was 3 wide way in the back. I'm like, there ain't no way these smacks can get it through this corner. And then, sure enough, they didn't. And some people might think the caution was brought out because they wanted Chase to have a shot to win it. And, I mean, I don't think anybody was going to beat Byron at the end. Now, if this was a 500-lap race, I'm almost guaranteed that Ryan Blaney was going to win that race. He was a Harvick out of that. I mean, just coming out of nowhere and getting a top 5 finish, having a shot to even win it at the end was amazing. And a lot of people, it's crazy, that would pick the outside, even when they're a leader. So, like, kind of bouncing into the Xfinity Series, Almirola chose the outside a lot. And it was really, I didn't really understand it because the outside is not preferable at Martinsville. Almirola was able to make it work in the Xfinity Series, and he gets the win from that. But all the other series, you had to start on the inside, or you're going to lose spots just like that.
Yeah, I don't think they had any of the resin or the PJ1 on the outside groove to make it.
It didn't look like it when
I was
there.
So I think just track temperatures and the tire they brought, it got a little bit of rubber in there and was able to, if you can keep it wound up on the outside, it's probably going to be faster.
The way the race played out, I'm talking about the Cup race, seeing it in person, it reminded you a lot like a sprint car race where they catch the lap traffic, and it's how well you can get through lap traffic. And the only one that was able to get through lap traffic at a great rate was William Byron. Denny Hamlin even struggled in the second stage and brought Chase Elliott to get real close at the end. And Larson almost lost the first stage to Bubba because he caught lap traffic at the wrong parts. And it's really interesting to listen to. We had a scanner as well. You listen to the drivers and the crews, and it's really interesting listening to Cliff Dan. You don't want if you want to listen to Larson, don't tune in, don't get a headset because he doesn't talk at all. Literally will not talk. Like, he just doesn't. But Cliff is so meticulous, so detail oriented on these tracks, and you could just tell how smart and knowledgeable he is with everything. He's a great motivator for Larson, and I think that's what he has to have, because Larson, the only time he would talk is like, I suck. I mean, he's harder on himself than anybody else. So, that was pretty cool in that aspect. And obviously, with the 5-year-old having the headset, he thinks it's really cool. He thought he was actually talking to the drivers when he was talking to them. So that was pretty cute. But yeah, great weekend of racing. Beautiful, beautiful weather up there. It was almost full for the Cup Series, so that was nice to see. Nobody there for the Xfinity trucks. Like touching on Almirola winning, so another Toyota dominance for the Xfinity Series.
They got definitely get some. They have the car to beat.
They've got it figured out, and well, specifically the short tracks, and I'm even going to put that with all 3 series. I mean, all the Toyotas are fast in all 3 series at the short tracks. I mean, Christian Eckes does. We got that pick right. You got your pick right with William Byron winning. That's cool. That's fun and all. Yeah, whatever.
Yeah, but hey, I'm last in fantasy, so.
But this was the closest we've all been in fantasy to get. Like, that was a pretty close battle. It really was anybody. You had a lead for a little while. I had a lead a little while, and then Mom prevailed at the end by a couple points over me. But yeah, that pretty much sums up Martinsville. It was pretty much classic Martinsville weekend. It's going to be one that's going to be remembered for a lot for the 1-2-3 finish with Byron, Larson, and Chase getting 1-2-3 for Hendrick on the 40th. I was really hoping that Bowman was going to find a little bit more speed and get up to 4th. That would have been really neat to see 1-2-3 4. Bowman finished 8th. I mean, that was a solid finish for him. He's having a really good run right now. But yeah, fun weekend in Martinsville. It was good.
Yeah, they literally would have been screaming. Was really...
Shout out to NASCAR too. Everybody that watches probably knows that I'm a cop in North Carolina, and they gave me this cool challenge coin that you guys can. Hold on, let me turn off my light real quick. The cool challenge coin that I got with my ticket, and let's see if I can pull it. There's a little bit there's that, and then you flip it right over. It's pretty cool.
That's very cool.
Pretty neat. Yeah, there's something that's nice little souvenir to have. I didn't buy anything except stuff for him. He got a new Larson hoodie, so he enjoyed that. And the kids zone was really cool, especially if you get there early. If you got anybody goes to the races, get there early if you bring a kid, because there's no crowd. We got there right at 9:00, and he went and did everything at the kids zone. Nobody there. It's fantastic. He had a great time. All right, well, we're moving into NHRA, kind of 2 races in one to go over real quick. So Pomona finals were at Arizona. A little weird to say that out loud. Yeah. But Justin Ashley wins Top Fuel. John Force gets Funny Car, and Dallas Glenn gets Pro Stock. So Erica Enders' streak finally comes to an end on that one. And going into the actual Arizona ones, Langdon gets Top Fuel. Austin Prock, you got that one right, for Funny Car, and Greg Anderson gets Pro Stock. So 2 in a row that Erica hasn't won. Are we worried now about her? Is she just lost her touch? I mean, just after 2 weeks.
Yeah, she was a little slow on the tree. For Erica, she was like a 50 or 60 on a couple of those runs. That's not going to cut it anymore. So she just. But hey, Tony Stewart got his first 2 round wins, and I don't think he made a full run on either one of them, so he got a little bit lucky. And he said they're having trouble. He said he's heavier than his wife, and they're having trouble trying to figure out how to get his fat ass to go down the track. It's Tony's
yeah, it was good to see him, the first one specifically, pedal that car to the win.
Yeah, he did a good job on that one.
So yeah, that was definitely fun to see. It's gonna come. He's gonna get a win. It'll be a little bit later this year. It'll happen though.
He's too good of a car to not win.
Yeah, I mean, he's still getting the hang of things. I mean, you're not going to do what Gage Herrera did in the motorcycles last year in Top Fuel. You're not going to win every single week. So at least to get a couple round wins, that's very respectable. And I mean, shows that he can wheel anything. I mean, it don't matter if it goes 200 miles an hour or almost 350 miles an hour. He can do it, whatever. And that pretty much does it for NHRA wrap up.
This episode is brought to you by SeatGeek. SeatGeek is a live entertainment platform rethinking ticketing by caring more about their fans, teams, and venues. They are powering a new open entertainment industries where fans have effortless access to experiences in teams, venues, and shows, and have seamless access to their audiences. With trusted consumer marketplace and innovative enterprise ticketing technology, SeatGeek has what you need for any sporting event. Make sure you use my promo code ZBMedia to get $20 off your purchase from SeatGeek. That is ZBMEDIA from SeatGeek. $20 off. You can't beat that. Check them out now. Get your next concert, sporting event, or anything else from SeatGeek. Back to the show.
Getting into our dirt racing segment. starting off with the World of Outlaws, recapping their 2 races last week. At US 36, David Gravel gets a win, and Arrowhead finally Jack Hodenshield gets a win. We didn't pick him on this one, but yeah, we were day late. Sheldon, yeah. Damn it, I'm sorry. My bad, Sheldon. I just called you your old man's name. Yeah, Sheldon Hodenshield. Yeah, that'd be weird.
Yeah,
Jack
I picked Sheldon for the night before. I was a day off.
Yeah, and another 2 great races. And it came down to how you could get through lap traffic. Yep. And was it I believe it was night 1 at US 36. Rico's the one that ended up hitting a lap car and getting in some trouble there.
Yeah. Yeah. And I'm going to say those 2 races were the best races of the whole weekend out of everything. It was just.
Usually is. I mean, we're biased, but yeah.
The World of Outlaws, it used to be races were kind of snoozers, and anymore you do not have any idea who's going to win.
They do a great job with the scheduling. They put these smaller bull ring type tracks on the schedule. They space it out evenly with the larger tracks, so it's not too much of one bigger half-mile track that's more of a snoozer, and then you go to it's really well spaced. They do a great job with scheduling, and these guys don't disappoint. And they try out different tracks year in year out now. And it's great to see, like Arrowhead, brand new track, like never been to. Another great race.
Yeah, and it looked like it was packed too. I mean,
it's really cool to see. And now we're previewing a track that they go to each and every year. Very traditional track.
I would like to see this track in person.
I-55. It's probably a marquee. I would say it's a marquee event now in World of Outlaws. So let's go over I-55. What is this track about, and what makes it, I guess, special for everybody?
Well, it's this one is, if this is the one I'm thinking of, it's like part owned by Schrader and possibly Kenny Wallace on that one. I'm not sure on that. It was those guys that but it's a 1/4 mile high bank bull ring. So let's see. Larson has the track record at 9.995 seconds. Set in May of 2020, so those things are hauling ass around that little track.
Yep.
It's going to be one of them, and it's going to be the tight racing. You're going to be banging wheels, even open wheel cars, and those guys are still going to bang the wheels and get you out of the way because you cannot hesitate. Like you think for 1 second, that next guy's coming right by you. Wherever you don't go, they're going. So it's 10-second, racing, they're going to be probably 11-second laps still. I mean, you're in lap cars by lap 3, maybe.
Yeah, I'll say about 5 at the latest.
So you got probably 35 or 40 laps around that thing, and you're not going to be able to chance to take a breath. It's going to be an awesome show to see. That's one race I think I would like to go see.
Yeah,
Outlaws at that track.
And what state did you say it's in?
Peabody, Missouri.
Okay. All right. Yeah. I mean, I don't know where that is. I know where Missouri is, but I mean, I don't.
Yeah, I'm not exactly sure.
If you didn't say St. Louis, I really don't know anywhere else on Kansas City. But all right. Well, they got 2 nights, back-to-back nights, Friday, Saturday night at I-55. So I like to see back-to-back nights, especially at a bull ring type racetrack. Yeah. So let's get into our picks for night 1. Who do you got for night 1?
Night 1. This guy has been good on these little tracks, and I normally don't pick him. You've picked him a couple times, but I got Gio Scelzi for night 1.
Okay, my dark horse for the championship this year. I'm still going to stay as my dark horse. I think this was a track, if I'm not mistaken, that Larson won last year. I don't think he's going to be racing in it this time. I'd be surprised if he was. I think he's got a little bit of other stuff going on this weekend. Friday, Saturday he's got high limit, but. My pick, a guy that goes really good here. He's due to get another win this year. I'm going with Logan Schuchart. Does he have a win yet? I think he's got one. He doesn't have a win? Well, I'm going with Logan Schuchart.
So we got 9 winners in 10 races now?
Yeah, because Sheldon won. David was the first 2-time winner this year.
Yeah, so that's pretty awesome.
All right, night 2. You got.
So I'm going to stick with it until I get one right. I was off by a day, so I got Sheldon Hodenshield for this one.
And I've got one that he's going to get a second win for the year. So what I'm picking, Carson Macedo.
I almost had him. I changed.
Finally different for this one. All right. Well, that is not it for dirt racing this week, guys, because a massive week a massive, massive week. Now we didn't recap the high limit from Tuesday night because we are recording this currently while they are racing the event for high limit. But high limit this week, I should have got my boots out because it's all about Texas and yeehawing this week. So, and every bit of racing coming up. So, high limit, Texarkana Speedway. Hell yeah, let's go. Talk about this one. This is the first of 4 races coming up this week. You got Friday, Saturday, Sunday, and Tuesday. And Tuesday is their midweek money race.
Oh,
so go ahead with Texarkana.
You know what? I didn't pick Tuesdays. My bad.
You better look at that. You could probably take a shot in the dark with it. I mean, yeah, talk about Texarkana.
But this one, I couldn't find a whole lot of it's Texarkana 67 Speedway. Hell yeah. So I couldn't find a whole lot about it. I couldn't find anything that told me what size it was or anything. It don't look, they don't normally run sprint cars there.
Looks really flat.
It looked like maybe 305s. They weren't going real fast. But it looks like it's a decent size track. Probably a fairly big.
Looked like maybe a 3/8.
Yeah, I mean it didn't look like it didn't look like a high bank track for sure.
Ooh.
And it looks like it gets real slick. Like this one of those. I think the bottom could be the fast way to go on this one. I think the top's just going to be too far around and not enough banking to hold the speed. It didn't look like it would build a cushion like some of these tracks are going to.
Yeah, high limit's back in action on a consistent basis now. Like I said, as we're recording this, they got their first return for a midweek big payout race. But let's go with picks one by one. While we're on Texarkana, let's give our high limit race pick. Who do you have?
I'm going to take low-hanging fruit on this one. I got Brad Sweet for this one.
All right. And I have not a low-hanging fruit, but it would not be a shocker to see this guy win. I got Brent Marks.
Okay, yeah. It's funny. I had Brent Marks. I changed it.
Good. All right, Texas Motor Speedway. This is not the Texas Motor Speedway that's behind you on the background. This is the dirt track Texas Motor Speedway.
Yeah, it's like
they are racing there.
Like that.
Yeah, they're racing there Saturday. Saturday night, if I'm not mistaken.
Saturday night Texas Motor Speedway, the Stockyard Stampede.
Hell yeah! Again, yeehaw! There's going to be more people.
Another one could not. They have no information on their dirt track. I was looking up size for the Texas Motor Speedway dirt track. Kept saying it's a 1.5 miles, quad oval. I'm like, no, it's not.
No, that's not that one. No.
So I bet
there'll be more people at this than the big
track.
There might be more people at these dirt tracks than the damn race behind you.
Yeah.
So what'd you see? You probably watched the same thing. I think they had an all-star race that was there a couple years ago.
Yeah, I mean, it's one of those things that's weather's going to be a factor on this one. It's going to come down. I keep saying it all the time. Getting through lap traffic is the key. So it's in high limits rules are a little different. So it's just the way you get a time trial and everything. But it's if you're going to Texas Motor Speedway, get the ticket. Go there Saturday night after the Xfinity race. Can't let your buzz go away. So.
Is it right outside? Is it right outside the big speedway?
Yeah, I was hoping maybe that's why I kind of got the shot. I was hoping maybe it would be on this one when I was picking it, but it's like
just a little bit
across the street or something.
Okay. Oh, so it's kind of like how the dirt track at Charlotte's set up.
I'm thinking it's like that.
See, that's what Charlotte needs to do. You have the dirt race and the NASCAR. That'd be freaking awesome all together. That'd be a headache for I don't know, cops, but yeah. All right, well, Texas Motor Speedway dirt track. Who are you going to pick on this one?
This guy's going to have to go from the infield of that one right to the infield of the dirt track. I got Kyle Larson on this one.
Yeah, make it too. I went with low-hanging fruit on that.
Yeah.
This one, I don't know if Larson will be racing this next one because it is the night after the Cup race, so I would not expect him to race in it. But if they finish early enough, I guess anything's possible.
Yeah, it's in Crandall, Texas.
RPM Speedway.
Yeah, I don't know how far away that might be. Of course, he's just going to hop in a helicopter anyway and go.
Yeah, I don't know if because Texas is going to start at 3:30 and the race is probably like at 7 or 8, or it'd be tough for him to make that. Which I don't think he's raced for the championship anyways. But What'd you see in RPM? I think the only thing I found was some late model races that they've raced there. And
Yeah, it's a quarter-mile dirt oval. To me, it looks like it gets slick, and it actually reminds me of like Fremont Speedway in Ohio.
Okay.
A dry, like it doesn't look like it's real good clay. It's not that real black clay that gets nice and sticky. So it looks just like dirt to me. So I think it's gonna be dusty, and it's gonna be slick.
Who you got for RPM?
Which leads me into my pick. This guy is great on the Ohio tracks. I got Sunshine Tyler Courtney.
All right. I've got the big guy himself, not the big cat, the big guy, Rico Abreu. And the midweek high-paying, high-stakes race at Red Dirt Raceway. I do like this, how they are just bringing these random tracks that they don't really race sprint car races on, and they just bring these massive 410 sprints here and just have at it. So what'd you see on this one that piqued your interest?
Honestly, nothing, because I forgot they were racing.
Oh, okay. Well, I'll I'll talk about it.
So I'm just going to go with a pick on this one. So go ahead. It's in.
Well, what I saw.
It's in Meeker, Oklahoma.
Yeah. So I believe All Stars have raced there before. Yeah, and All Stars or Outlaw, one of the two. And yeah, it was the All Star races, and I think Larson was racing in it. Tony Stewart was racing. Looks like it's a wider track. Looks kind of similar to like a port type racetrack, similar clay to that. I think it'll slick up throughout the entire race. It'll be interesting how the drivers can go about that, especially a track they're not used to going to. But it's a high stakes race. Anything's gonna go. You're going for the big money there, and I think points still too. I think that still counts as a point stay if I'm not mistaken. So you got kind of double whammy.
Yeah, I think they have the midweek point. So I think the midweek points do count for the guys running the whole thing, but then also going to be separated for like the guys who are only just
well. I expect there to be a good cushion, and I think the outside might be the way to go at the end of this one, and that leads me to my pick. And I'm going to pick this one first. And no one runs the outside in a sprint car better than this guy. I'm going Kyle Larson, so he's two of my picks this week.
That's a good one. Now, I know Brent Marks came down and was running one of these tracks. I was thinking it was Red Dirt Raceway, but I don't see him that in the results. I don't think maybe it was RPM that he was going to. But you know what? He's been fast. You had him earlier in the week. I'm going to get him for the Tuesday night show. I got Brent Marks.
Well, only one of our picks lines up so far.
We've done pretty well so far.
This is fun. So that does it for our dirt racing segment this week, guys. So we're heading back onto asphalt and NHRA, heading to the Las Vegas 4-wide. This is the first of back-to-back 4-wide events. This, if you've not seen a 4-wide drag race, it is a sight to see. You think two are loud going at a time? Well, you double that up, and it is freaking loud. What, 50,000 horsepower all in one freaking track?
Yeah, something like that.
Yeah, so Las Vegas, they're going back-to-back weeks, so this will be these crews they're going to be exhausted with the way they had two finals at Arizona, and now they're going right into another
luckily,
week
they don't
at
have to
it.
go far.
Well, no, luckily, and it's the final leg of their West Coast swing to start off the year. So Las Vegas 4-wide, what would you expect how this be different than the Charlotte 4-wide?
Just atmospheric conditions going to be different. You know, it's going to be very low humidity. Even if I noticed this at Arizona, the air temperature was not that hot. It was only in the 70s. The track temp, just from the Arizona sun and the UV, the track temp was like in the 120. So there for a while they were having a little trouble getting hold of track. So you know, you're talking 5-6% humidity out there. Those things are going to make a ton of power, especially the like the pro stock cars, the naturally aspirated cars. They're definitely going.
So you might go in with a similar type of setup as Arizona going into Las Vegas. Then I mean, it's in the middle of the desert.
I would think very, very much so. The biggest thing is keeping an eye on 4 lanes of how the track's taking the rubber and things like that.
Yeah.
And then the biggest issue is the drivers doing their staging.
Yeah.
So, you got to only not stage, wait for one car to go in. You got to wait for three others. So
That
it's easily to forget which lane you're in and which bulb you're looking at on that Christmas tree. And there's been a couple where they thought they were staged and they were not. And once all three of the cars staged, you got 7 seconds to.
Well, the staging was the biggest issue when they went to 4 wide at Charlotte for the very first time for the first, I think, 2 races that they did it. Then they were able to keep, as you do with everything, you keep improving, improving. Everything's so electronic anymore that it all works out pretty well. So the drivers should be used to it by now. Looks like it's the top 3 series once again. Motorcycles will be back at Charlotte here in a couple weeks, and that's always fun when all 4 series are there. But let's give our picks for the top 3. We got Pro Stock, Funny Car, Top Fuel. So 1, 2, 3, go with it.
For Pro Stock, I got 2 in a row for Greg Anderson. They were saying they changed, I think, the intake manifold on the Pro Stocks a little bit, and right now it looks like KB might have a slight advantage on the elite teams. Slight, I'm going to say. So in Funny Car, I got J.R. Todd winning his second one of the year. And Top Fuel, this guy is always tough on the 4-wide races. I got Antron Brown.
All right, well, Pro Stock, I expect her to get back into the winner circle. I expect her to clean up her reaction time a little bit. I've got Erica Enders for Pro Stock. My Funny Car pick, kind of low-hanging fruit here, kind of bailed out of a pick here, but it's Matt Hagan for that one. And Top Fuel, I'm kind of going, I hate to say it, but I guess now he's an underdog, but he's my favorite driver, been my favorite driver for a long time. I got Tony Schumacher for this one.
We've been close. I deleted Tony. I was like, oh, I forgot about Antron's.
I thought Antron too. Those both came to mind. So yeah, we'll see. See if they could both turn back the clocks a little bit and have some fun out there in Las Vegas.
Glad to see Tony Schumacher running good. Yeah, he was always one of our favorites, especially in the Army car and the whole deal.
And now, even now, being, I mean, I think he was in the Army at 1.2. I think that's why his name was.
They call him Sarge, so
I think, yeah, if I'm not mistaken, he was in the Army. I'm not trying to.
Which is funny, all 4'11" of him being.
Yeah.
Whatever.
All right, well. Dude. All right, well, let's get our Texas two-step on. We're going to Texas Motor Speedway for NASCAR. The big 3 series are heading to the big one in Texas. Everything's bigger in Texas, but as we always start every NASCAR segment off, trivia question this week. Here you go.
Okay.
And so Texas Motor Speedway, owned by Speedway Motorsports. It's no question. And it seems like they own every damn track anymore. The question is, how many tracks does Speedway Motorsports own in NASCAR?
Wow. Let's see. Texas, Charlotte, Bristol, COTA, Sonoma.
I don't think they own COTA.
Yeah.
Oh, they do?
Marcus Smith.
Oh. It's not on their website.
He has something to do with it. I literally
it's not on their website.
What's that?
It's not on their website.
Okay. Because they were saying it was actually Denny Hamlin talking about Marcus Smith and COTA, so I figured.
No, Sonoma. It was Sonoma.
Oh, they don't own Sonoma?
No, he owns Sonoma. Yeah, he owns Sonoma, but he was Denny Hamlin was talking about the asphalt coming up.
Okay, Sonoma. My bad. I thought he said COTA.
Sorry, I interrupted you. Go ahead.
Do they own Dover?
The suspense is
Miami or Homestead.
No. No.
Well, the answer is how many do they own? 12?
11.
11.
So here's what they officially own. This is according to their actual website. So unless they are making things wrong, which wouldn't be surprised. Atlanta, Bristol, Charlotte, Dover, Kentucky, Las Vegas, Nashville, New Hampshire, North Wilkesboro, Sonoma, and Texas.
You know what? I would not have guessed New Hampshire. I didn't know they owned that.
Yeah, well, if you think about it, look at the New Hampshire logo next time, like, oh, it has the
yeah, I'm sure.
Logo. All right, well.
They just recently acquired Dover just a couple years ago, I think.
Yeah, and I'm sure they're working on getting some more deals before too long. And I wouldn't be surprised if they somehow get affiliated with Rockingham and bring that back. The way it worked out with North. Well, the way it worked out with North Wilkesboro, it'd be a smart investment, I think. All right, so power rankings heading into Texas this week. I'll start it off. Top 5 is definitely different. Your number 1's going to be the same, but I didn't have him as my number 1 last week, so it's different for me this week. So my number 1 last week is Truex. He has fallen down to number 5 for me. Number 4 moving back into the top 5 power rankings after an incredible "where the hell did you come from" race. Ryan Blaney is up to number 4. Number 3, he did finish outside the top 10. That's because he got faked the hell out for a pit road stop, that was actually hilarious to see in person. But I've got Denny Hamlin at number 3. Number 2, I've got the guy who just won Martinsville. I've got William Byron. And number 1, as consistent as he has been with these top 5s, top 3 finishes, I do have Kyle Larson down taking my number 1 spot in power rankings.
Okay, so we're completely different.
Oh, all right. Well, who's your top 5?
All right. So number 5, I got him moving back. I had him earlier in the year. I have him in. I got Bubba Wallace. He's been fast about everywhere. Number 4, it was hard to move him. I dropped him 2 spots from 2nd to 4. I have Ryan Blaney. He had a great run. But the reason is that at number 3, he went up 2 spots for having even a better run. I have Kyle Larson at number 3. Denny Hamlin, I got up 1 spot at number 2. He was super fast. Yeah, they whatever. I don't know who decided on the pit road thing, but
he got faked out.
It's like you knew that wasn't going to work. At number 1, and right now he's definitely a championship favorite. I got William Byron. That car's just
it's kind of deja vu from last year. He started so strong last year.
Whether he can maintain it, we'll see.
When the tracks get hot and slick, can he make it through the summer times? And we'll see. All right, and fantasy lineups for this week. Again, I'm going to go ahead. Whenever you go first and then I go second, it seems like I'm copying. But now you don't even have anything.
We're not going to be anywhere close on this one, man.
No, ain't no way. I swear. All right, my starters this week. I do have to pull some of the major favorites that you got to have because I've only got Larson. I've got 6 more times or something. And I'm like, I can't have him anymore until towards the end. So there's a theme a little bit here. I've got Bubba Wallace, Ty Gibbs, Chris Buescher, Tyler Reddick, and William Byron. I've actually only used Byron twice. And in my garage, I do have Kyle Larson. So somebody is just going to fail me. Go ahead. I'll put him in. All right, feature matchup. These feature matchups, I would stay away this week. Martinsville was an easier. By the way, shout out to DraftKings last week. I did win over $200 from Martinsville because I am awesome for all these matchups. But I'm staying away from the matchups this week. There's no way I could pick these because Texas.
This one's tough.
This one specifically is tough. William Byron versus Kyle Larson. Good luck with that one. But I'm giving the slight edge to William Byron. His odds are actually plus 115, so that's actually kind of strange that he's that much of an underdog to Larson at this one. Daniel Suarez versus Brad Keselowski. I've got Daniel Suarez over Brad on this one. I don't really know why. Brad just had some bad luck, and I just had to pick somebody. Teammates, Bubba Wallace versus Tyler Reddick. I've got them both in my lineup. So I've got Bubba in this one. Slight edge to Bubba. Just he's been so consistent this year. And Ryan Blaney versus Chase. They're both racing good right now. I don't know. Yeah. So you know what? I picked Ryan Blaney because I don't have a reason. So go ahead with your lineups.
All right. So my lineup. Like you said, I pulled the good drivers out. So we're going with the JV team here. So I have Ty Gibbs, Chase Briscoe, Todd Gilliland, Justin Haley, Kyle Busch, and then in my garage I have Eric Jones.
Did you ever think Kyle Busch would be a JV team?
Yeah, well, that car just sucks.
Yeah, it does.
So, in my feature lineups, we're a little bit different. So, I have Kyle Larson over William Byron. I have Brad Kay over Daniel Suarez. Bubba over Tyler Reddick and Ryan Blaney over Chase Elliott.
Okay, last couple were the same. Good bet this week is William Byron. Thanks, Vegas. That was a shocker.
Yeah, Captain Obvious.
They do say Brad is a good bet this weekend, so we'll see how he does. Hopefully, he can turn his luck around. It says avoid Chase, avoid Chris Buescher. Either you're a sleeper or you avoid you, Chris. I'm sorry.
Yeah.
And you're in my lineup, so that's cool. And they say sleepers Bubba Wallace.
Is Bubba really a sleeper as good as he's actually been running?
Yeah, maybe a sleeper to win just because he doesn't knock off a bunch of wins like you would be accustomed to for like a favorite. But yeah. All right. Well, all three series are here at Texas, and this is probably the worst mile and a half that they have.
I don't know why the race.
It's really only bad for the Cup races. The other ones, they actually have pretty decent races. I don't know what it is about the Cup series. Probably because
the drivers are just so much better. They don't crash and cause a lot of restarts.
Yeah, and you could fix some of this is give them the 750 horsepower engines and roll with it.
That would make Martinsville a better race too.
Yeah, and make I'd argue make every race better. More horsepower is better. But yeah, I guess. What makes Texas, I guess, different than all these other mile and a halves? I mean, you've got a significant difference between 1 and 2 and 3 and 4. I think it would be the biggest difference you could say.
Yeah, I really don't know what. I know when they first built it, the track was really, really bad, and they changed it up. It's something with the transitions between the straightaways and the corners, and I don't know, the angle of the sun or some stupid shit like that. I don't know why it races so bad. But it's one of those tracks. If you can hit it, you can freaking drive off and be gone. Ryan Blaney a couple of years ago in that All-Star race, he was just checked out and gone.
Yeah.
So it's really for the guys that hit the track or hit the setup, they're going to be really good. If you miss it, you're going to suck ass and really be bad and think something's wrong with your car the whole time.
Yep. They've talked about a reconfigure here. I don't really know what you could reconfigure because then you'd have to move grandstands and they're not going to do all of that. I don't know if there's something you can do to make it like Atlanta and then you end up doing another speedway type race. I don't know what the fix would be, and hopefully we're wrong. I do know what the fix would be. We just said it, the high horsepower.
Yeah.
I think at least try it. If you keep doing the same thing.
They used to have the high horsepower here and it still was terrible racing. So.
Well, you know what? I don't know. Get rid of Texas. I don't know. I don't know.
Don't start bringing in people. You might only see them, losing one date and moving some stuff somewhere else.
I think you're going to see.
Honestly, I wouldn't mind seeing different tracks every couple of years. Just move around a little bit. Just change the thing. It gets a little boring.
The Outlaws do it. They have their traditional tracks they go to, but then they go to these tracks that they don't ever go to, and it's really good racing because nobody knows anything about it, and then that's great because then you're just like, hey, who's going to be the who's who here and who can just outwheel it from everybody else? To talk about Richmond losing a race, so if Texas keeps up this suckiness, Texas is going to be another one that loses a race.
Yeah.
All right, well, 3 series here. Let's get off our soapbox here. Trucks are a Friday night race, and I think Xfinity's afternoon, if I'm not mistaken.
Correct.
And so is the Cup Series. Once again, you could have a doubleheader Saturday and then a night race at Cup, and I think that would make it a better race. But what do I know? I'm just a fan that has watched NASCAR entire life and know what's good racing. But it's okay. Who's your pick for the truck race Friday night?
Well, we did pretty good last week, so I'm going to mix up a little bit. I got Corey Heim this week for the truck race.
Well, yeah, I'm about to say, there ain't no way you have the same picks as me this week. I have a common theme right here, and you'll pick up on it after I give my last pick. But I've got Taylor Gray. Taylor, not Tanner. Taylor. Yep. Xfinity.
Yeah, he's been running good. I told you beginning of the year, they're kind of my sleepers, the Grays. They've been...
Yep. Taylor's just got a little bit of an edge right now over his brother.
Yeah.
Xfinity. Who you got?
Guy's going to pick up his first win. He's in Joe Gibbs Toyota. It's hard to go against these guys. I got Sheldon Creed.
Yeah, I do too. Okay, so that pick doesn't surprise me that you picked him too. I've got Sheldon. Yeah. And Cup Series, who you got?
We just talked. I just talked about him. Winner of the All-Star race a couple years ago without a window net in. I got Ryan Blaney.
Here's my here's how you can pick up my theme this weekend. All Toyotas. I think it's going to be a Toyota dominant weekend. And I've got a guy getting his first win of the year. I've got Bubba Wallace.
Okay.
To win this one.
He did pick up the win. What was it? Kansas, Kentucky, 1.5 track. So he
And the
does get around
45,
these things.
and that's when he had filled in for Kurt Busch in the 45 when they made it to the actual playoffs, and he filled in.
That would not be as good as Bubba's been running. That would not be a surprise.
The team's just got it clicking. They've got it going. What's Mom's pick?
Oh, Mom's pick Chase Elliott.
Okay. All right, that's the one to avoid. So that means she's gonna get
good. Maybe she'll put him in her lineup and he'll suck and we can gain some points.
All right, well, to finish it off today, guys, this is one I've been pretty excited to unveil. Our top 5 biggest rivalries in all of motorsports history. Now, you could probably interchange this top 5 that I've got. It was hard. It's hard to pick 5 from all time.
Yeah, it's
really
almost not really ranked. I wouldn't say top,
Yeah, exactly.
Special order.
But these are the 5 most, I would say. But you got to put numbers on everything. So, and I put a dirt racing in here, and I got a little bit of everywhere. So it's you kind of had to pick where you want to put them. So
I've got 3 dirt.
All right. Well, I'm going to start off with number 5. And this will actually make you probably excited about this. I got Snake and Mongoose from drag racing. Yeah,
it's on my list.
Yeah, Don. Is it Prudhomme?
Don Prudhomme.
Prudhomme. Okay. Yeah.
Tom Mongoose McEwen.
Yeah. I mean, probably the first drag racing rivalry there was.
If you ever see the Snake and Mongoose movie, if you haven't seen it, it's a really good movie. They're not rivals. They're actually quite good friends.
Well, rivals, and here's the thing with
it was they made it. Hot Wheels had their cars, so they kind of made that the rivalry set.
Well, here's the thing about rivalries. It doesn't have to. They don't have to hate each other. It's a rivalry where, like, hey, you both might be the best of that time period, and it's either one of you that's going to get a win. Doesn't mean it's a hostile rivalry. Now there might be one or two in here that's a hostile rivalry.
Yeah,
but
I got rivalries one for sure.
Rivalries also go with competition, and you compete against your fellow guy, and that builds the rivalry up. So I got Snake and Mongoose. That's my number 5. Number 4. Here's a hostile one. I've got Cale Yarborough and Donnie Allison. You could probably throw Bobby Allison in there a little bit too, but it was really Cale and Donnie that, I mean, if y'all live under a rock at 1979 Daytona 500, they didn't talk to each other for decades. Like, they hate each other. Like, even when they were old men, and they still hated each other. I was like, damn, you guys hold grudges a long time. So yeah, classic right there. Cale Yarborough and Donnie Allison. Number 3, dirt racing, sprint car, World of Outlaws, the 2 of the greatest that you can have, and we're going to actually talk to one of these guys here coming up. Sammy Swindell and Steve Kinser. If y'all don't know, it was on the track, yes, rivalries, because, I mean, it was either one of them, and the only one that could really beat Steve on more of a consistent basis was Sammy. He's the first one that actually beat Steve in the championship. Didn't happen a lot, but because Steve won 20 damn things. But they also weren't the friendliest to one another. Let's just put it that. I'll let you touch on that in a minute, because you actually lived through that rivalry, and that went all from the 80s all the way into the 2000s. I mean, and when we talk to Sammy, that's probably gonna be one of our questions. Do you still hate Steve? Or something like that. All right, the next one. And this one, I couldn't choose which one, and I just said, eeny, meeny, miny, mo, this is what I went with. I went Dale Earnhardt and Jeff Gordon, the 1990s rivalry, and I'm not sure if they really went back and forth in the garage, but Dale would always talk shit about Gordon and in the interviews and everything. Gordon didn't really say too much. Gordon would just go out on the track, and everybody hated Gordon because he would end up beating Dale. So it was like, you're either a Dale fan or you're a Gordon fan back in the 90s, and that's what really made the rivalry special. The other honorable mention with that, I was going to I was possibly looking at Dale and Waltrip. So, they were best friends, but on the track, that was like huge rivalry. Number 1, and I think this is a pretty legit. This is not a hostile one at all. More of, this is probably 2 best competitors in IndyCar racing of all time: AJ Foyt and Mario Andretti. 60s and 70s. I mean, it's like, who do you go with here between AJ?
Well, just IndyCar. Back in and racing. Too.
Well, I mean, yeah.
Those guys raced.
when one went to another series, the other's like, I'm going to do that too, because I can't let you one up me. And neither one did, and both are all-time greats. So, not as a hostile rivalry there, but just one of the biggest competitive rivalries that you can see of all time. There's my 5. Go ahead with yours.
Okay, so mine are some of the ones that I've personally witnessed on here. So this is, I was thinking, we had at AJ and Mario. I didn't put that on my list. Ford versus Chevy. I mean, that's the redneck rivalry going right there.
Yeah.
And so didn't make it. But at 5, I have World of Outlaws versus the Pennsylvania Posse.
Okay.
Especially,
you just went broad.
It may not be quite as much as a rivalry as it was back in the 80s and 90s. All of the Pennsylvania great drivers, they're either not racing anymore or getting old, Lance. So it's,
God.
Well, sorry. I mean, we don't seem to have
I'm gonna clip
the
that
new guys that are
like, damn.
I don't know. Pennsylvania just don't seem to have the new drivers that are really at the same level as the Outlaw drivers.
Yeah.
That, I mean, Brent Marks, Dietrich and Sprite. I mean, Lance can still drive. He hits it just right. But Freddie Raymer don't seem like he is consistent enough. Which comes up to number 4. Fred Raymer and Jeff Shepard in the early 2000s. These two did not like each other. And this is one that, and Jeff Shepard's a great driver, definitely runs the mouth, for sure. They always call him Jeff. Raymer had the best victory speech. Because Shepard won the week before and was talking shit. So Raymer wins next week, and he's like, you know what? He's like, everybody wants to call him Jeff the Jet. He's like, I call him the mouth from Maryland. So then you got half the booze and half the, Raymer was never one to mix words. So I got him at 4. At 3, we had the same. I got Snake and Mongoose on that one. That was one. I went back and forth, Snake and Mongoose or Big Daddy and Shirley Muldowney. That was the other one that was kind of which one do I put in there? At 2, I have Earnhardt and Gordon. And like you said, they weren't. They definitely weren't enemies by any means. They put together, I think it was Chase Athletics, where they did merchandise and T-shirts and diecast and made a buttload of money. So it's but on the track, oh yeah, I mean there was a couple of times that Earnhardt would get in there and get him loose, and and Gordon would be.
Who wasn't? Who he didn't do that to?
So and I was at number 1. This is the one I got Steve Kinzer and Sammy Swindell.
Okay, number 1.
Oh yeah, they were, and like you said,
we'll bring that up to Sammy. I think he'll appreciate that.
We got and that's just one of those things. Steve was probably more of a finesse driver, and Sammy's more of a balls out, breaks it for pussies type driver. So it definitely the styles mixed together a little bit, and the tempers did flare on occasion. I witnessed that already. I seen. And if you don't know, Steve Kinzer's a big guy. He was state wrestling champ. Sammy's not. But that Sammy's the little dog going up against the Rottweiler coming down through there. He just thinks he's. And I told Steve, I seen Steve tell him to turn around and go back, or don't come down here, you son of a bitch, or something like that. It was.
Yeah. Well. Awesome. Well, we will definitely bring it up to Sammy when we talk to him. Excited about that. In case you guys didn't catch it, yes, we will be talking to Sammy Swindell, and it will be released in a bonus episode coming up, likely middle of this month, and we'll be talking to him before too long. I do want to give an honorable mention to a rivalry that just a broad one as well. Rain versus anything in motorsports, because Rain just screws up everything. Specifically dirt racing, and if you have rain in the morning and it just floods the whole damn track, you just ain't no way you can bring that back.
There's nothing more miserable being on a dirt track in the rain. It's just awful.
Well, the good thing nowadays is that specifically the Outlaws, they will call a race very early so that teams don't even have to make the trip to the track.
It seems to be there for a while. They just wanted to get everybody in the stands and sell.
Yeah, now. Yeah.
now they're starting to understand how much it costs just to open up the racetrack. How much?
Yeah, shit. Williams Grove will cancel 2 days before. I'm like, oh shit, we had rain.
I don't hate them for that.
No,
gives you time to be like, hey, Williams Grove cancel. No, let's either race somewhere else.
We've been on the way to the track and actually got into the track, and they were like, oh yeah, we're gonna cancel now. Oh, okay, we're already.
Oh yeah, we've 30 minutes unloaded. It's like you're not going to race.
Yeah.
But if you're running the points, you got to be there.
Well, I think that's going to do it for this week, everybody. Like I said, we will be talking to Sammy Swindell, the 3-time World Outlaw champion, and just I'll run down his resume when I talk to him. Part of it's too long to really list everything.
Yeah,
but just excited to do that. That's going to be an awesome conversation. Looking very much for that. So pay attention, follow wherever you get your podcast. Yeah. Make sure you pay attention whenever that Sammy Swindell episode drops. Follow on the YouTube channel, all social media platforms. Check it out. We'll start releasing a little bit of these bonus episodes on some other platforms, specifically Facebook, and we'll start clipping some stuff, sending it out there so you can view it there if you don't want to view on YouTube. But, give the YouTube channel a look, too. A lot of stuff to check out there.
You got any questions for Sammy?
Yes. Now's your time.
We'll see if we,
Now's your time to drop questions down below.
Comments to Sammy,
what do you want to ask? What do you want to ask Sammy? We'll keep it PG. No, I mean, come on, let's try to be real here. Any questions you have for him, I'm sure he don't care what you want to ask him as long as you keep it pretty PG. But he's a wealth of knowledge. He's had such an illustrious career, still doing it. And his kid's still doing it too. I say kid, he's older than me, but I mean whatever. But yeah, so look out for that. And no top 5 next week. We'll dive back in here in a couple weeks. I think every other week is the perfect one. Gives me a week to figure out what the hell I want to talk about anyways. So yeah, make sure you subscribe, follow wherever you get it. And until next time, we'll see you guys then.
All right, bye everybody.